What's up, everybody? Good to be back. I know I haven't posted in about 4-5 days or so now, which is unusual for me. I usually like to do something every day, every other day, but I just needed a bit of a creative rest, But something interesting happened, and I think this is the video I should start back with. I actually ran into one of my victims of the crime I committed that I ultimately received 10 years in prison for. The title says this happened yesterday, but I actually started this video yesterday, and rather than put I ran into my victim 2 days ago or the day before yesterday, just says yesterday, but it actually was this past Sunday. I had just went to the mountains with my girlfriend just to enjoy the view and have a nice Sunday there, and on the way back we stopped by a gas station, ironically, and I'm going to tell you about the interaction I had with the victim of one of my crimes. A quick recap if you're new to the channel, or if this is the first video of mine you're seeing, or just if you need a little refresher. I was given 10 years in prison for the armed robbery of 2 gas stations back when I was about 20 years old. I'm now 31 years old, recently finished my 10-year sentence punishment for those crimes. Now, I know while I was on parole, it was one of the conditions of parole that I should not have any contact with my victims. I'm actually not on parole anymore as of last December, so should be all good there. I honestly, it was so long ago, and it was just such a brief, I didn't know who this person was. I wouldn't know how to find them, wouldn't know their name, wouldn't know anything. So, it was never an issue as far as make sure you don't have any contact. I wouldn't know them, if they were standing in front of me. And that's kind of what happened Sunday. They were essentially standing in front of me, and I had no idea who they were. So this is what happened. We pulled up to the gas station, and I went inside. Now, the odds of this happening, what I'm about to tell you, it's actually not as improbable as you may think. I've told you before in previous videos, I'm actually from a small southern town. It's very small. I kind of attribute this town to like Mayberry from the Andy Griffith Show. That small of a city. I wouldn't say everybody knows everybody, but it's just a little bigger than that, to where if there's someone I don't know, I probably know someone who knows that person. Okay, so that's just kind of where we're at here. I walk into the gas station, and there's about 4 people in line. And of course, when someone walks in, everyone kind of looks over really briefly, then looks back, forward. But one person at the end of the line kind of held that gaze just a little longer than normal, and just your brief back of your mind thoughts, I'm kind of like, what's up with that guy, but no big deal, so I go ahead and walk to the back. I'm picking out my snacks. We've been in the mountains all day. I'm a little hungry, and I'm just getting some chips and a drink, something like that, and I head to the back of the line to wait my turn to pay for my stuff. And I'm behind the guy who kind of held his gaze a little longer than the others. And I'm standing there for a few seconds, and this guy turns around, and I kind of look down at him, and he says, "I remember you." Now, at this point, my thinking, just to explain, I have been on the internet for quite a while. I know I've only been doing YouTube about 3.5 months at this point, and I haven't been recognized off of YouTube at all at this point. But I've been on TikTok for over a year now, and I've got a pretty large, almost 500,000 strong following over there, and it's not an everyday thing, but probably once every week or 2 weeks, if I go into a bigger place like Walmart or downtown to some event or something like that, I have been noticed a lot of times. People will recognize me from TikTok, and so that's usually how it starts. It's kind of just I can at first it kind of threw me off. I wasn't used to it, but I've come to be able to recognize, for the most part, that look, when someone recognizes me. And so, of course, the first thing I think of, because I don't know this guy, at all from looking at him, he says, I remember you. And so immediately, my mind kind of goes to, well, maybe this guy recognizes me from TikTok or the internet or something. Maybe we spoke while I was on live, and so I'm not familiar with his face, but that's why he would say, I remember you, something. So I say, I kind of smile. I'm like, I don't really know what to say because I don't necessarily remember him. So I'm kind of stumbling with words, I don't really know what to say, but I'm just kind of waiting for him to follow up on where he remembers me from so I can know how to continue this conversation. But so he sees and recognizes that I'm a little stuck and kind of confused, and he says, the Spink Station. And Spink Station, if you're not from around here, I think it's just a local chain of gas stations. So if you're not from around my area, a Spink Station is a gas station, a very popular chain of gas stations we have down here in the South, I think South Carolina and North Carolina. And there's only one, I don't often go to Spink Stations. So especially not these days because of where I live, there's just not... those aren't my main gas stations that are close to my home. So obviously the last time I really was at a Spink Station was before prison, and there's really only one significant thing that has ever taken place at a Spink's gas station in my mind, and it was the robberies. And so it took me a few seconds, but I said, and it kind of clicked, and it hit me, and I said, oh, well, that was you? And he said, yeah, that was me. So we just got some confirmation there that he was one of the guys at one of the stores who, I did what I did at. So I'm kind of, I'm taking that in, and, his demeanor was just kind of friendly, open, just kind of matter-of-factly. It wasn't confrontational at all. And I'm kind of I'm giving my thoughts during this, and, his, this and that, and I'm giving some further context here in this video, but in reality, all of this is happening within 15 or so seconds, so I'm kind of moving at a very fast pace in my mind. And, when he says that, I don't know how this guy feels about it. I don't know if he's angry, if he's vengeful, or if he's fine. He's completely moved on and it's just not been any issue really, or if, maybe it has been and he's been waiting for this for a long time. I don't know. I don't know. And it's just now in the last 3 seconds been, it's clicked and confirmed that this is the guy and I've done something horrible to this guy, and I don't know how he feels about this. And so I'm kind of really just processing everything as fast as I can. And so before I can really respond to him saying, yeah, that was me, he kind of follows up. And again, he's very matter of fact in his tone. He doesn't seem angry. He's just, he seems more surprised. Hey, that's that guy. And he wants to talk to me. He seems like he doesn't, I don't know, how someone would normally act in this situation because it's not a normal situation, but he doesn't seem, he seems like he just is, he just wants to talk about the situation and get some information. And he's just a little curious. Hey, what? And you'll see that by the question he asked me right after that, before I could respond to him saying, yeah, that was me. He says, whatever happened with that? So, I said, well, I got caught and, I did my time, and, now I'm home, but I did some time in prison. I did about 10 years for that. And he said, oh. He said, yeah, they called me and they told me that you were out, I guess because it is a customary thing, that when you have a victim in your crime, they do call them and warn them so many hours or days ahead of time that, hey, this guy has completed his sentence and he's about to get, come home from prison. We have to notify you. So he said, yeah, they called me and told me that you were getting out, so it's kind of crazy to see you, because I've only been out now a little over a year. So, I guess the odds are a little, I don't know. It is a small town though, so who knows? But I'm sure for him in his mind and mine too, that is kind of a crazy world, we've run into each other. So, abruptly, right about this time, it's his turn in line to pay for whatever he's paying for at the counter, So he kind of turns around, and that's the end of the conversation for now. He pays for his stuff, and I'm right behind him with my stuff. So once he does, he kind of, gives a look back and just kind of, it's like, all right, man, good luck, and leaves out. He didn't seem like he had any ill will. The whole time I'm thinking, I don't know how this is going to go. I know if it was me, he wouldn't be exactly wrong if he wanted to get some revenge or just, do a little something more than just be friendly about it. If it was me and I came face to face with the guy who did something to me, I might have a little more words or more than words, for that guy. I don't know how, I'm still judging this as it goes. I don't know if this guy's just gotta freak out and start, I don't know. But no, he wasn't, he was just friendly about it, and he gave a wave and said good luck and left out. So I pay for my stuff, and I got to thinking while I'm paying and as I'm leaving the store, it just felt like there wasn't closure there, and maybe that's, I never felt I needed it before now, but it's starting to feel like maybe it's just necessary. And maybe this guy, why did this guy open up this conversation with me? Plenty of people would see me if they were them and not say anything. And maybe go home and tell their family or whoever, hey, man, you know what? I saw the guy. I didn't say anything. I don't think he recognized me, but, man, I saw that guy. That piece of crap. But he chose to open up that conversation. He seemed very eager to. And it seemed like it was just kind of cut short by, where we were at and what we both had to do. We had stuff to do and places to go, and he did, he was getting some gas. And so as I walked out, he's still there. He's on the pump kind of opposite me, pumping his gas. I didn't come there for gas. I came there for snacks. So he's there, and I'm really about to leave. So, something just told me, and I got to thinking, and I see plenty of comments from you guys. It's, I've seen plenty of comments. Hey, have you ever thought about reaching out to, these people or that people who you've hurt or who you've did this to? And, we know you're kind of accepting responsibility for what you did, and you're doing this and you're trying to make a change. But have you ever thought or considered doing this? And, a lot of those comments came while I was still on parole. And a lot of those comments, whether on parole or off parole, like I said, I wouldn't know how to find these people if you paid me, I have no clue. But here I was, right here, side by side with this person. And I said, let me at least go get some closure and give some closure here. So I skip going ahead and getting back in my car, and I kind of start to go over towards him to restart and close out officially this conversation between us. And he notices this. He saw me once I came out of the store, and he's kind of kept an eye. And as I'm approaching him, it kind of hits me also, as much as I don't know this guy's mindset, he doesn't know mine. And everything this guy does know of me, it's probably bad. This guy doesn't know if I'm just such a piece of crap that, I'm going to come over there now that, and he's pumping gas, and now I'm heading over towards him to do something else horrible just because maybe I'm bitter and I somehow place blame on him, for me having to do 10 years or something. I'm sure he doesn't know. and he's still on the fence about it. So as I approach him, this kind of goes through my mind, and I want to eliminate any thought of that on his end, and I want him to feel at ease, as at ease as he can be, because I don't mean any harm here. And so I try to show this by immediately sticking out my hand and just extending my hand and showing, hey, I don't mean any, I open up the conversation as I'm extending my hand. He's still got his hand on the gas pump, and I just kind of reach my hand out as I'm approaching him, and I say, hey, man, I did want to say, I apologize for that stuff back then. I feel like I'm a different person. I was just going, don't even ask me what I was going through back then. I was just going through a bunch of crap that doesn't excuse it. And I don't even feel like that same person. I cringe when I look back at that stuff. And I just want to relay that to him, how much I just shudder when I look back on just the stuff I did, and just as much so the mindset that I had back then, because it was just so stupid and so pointless and just no logic or reason there. But I told him, hey, man, I just wanted to apologize for what happened back then. I don't really have a good excuse for or really a good explanation of what was going through my mind, but, definitely not anything like that going through my mind these days. And I do feel awful for what I did. And he shook my hand. I'm glad he did. He reached out, he let go of the pump, he shook my hand. And he kind of brushed it off, how people will, oh yeah, I mean, it's fine. And I don't know if this has been, if it has been something that's been bothering him ever since it happened, or just it took a few years and maybe the last few it hasn't, but for the first few it did, or, maybe it was never that scary to him, and he never really gave it too much, thought or power over him, as far as that going through that. I don't know. All I know is how he conducted himself with me. That could have 100% been a strong persona act, or it could have been his true feelings on it. I don't know, but at least I know I gave an apology, and it, he shook my hand, and I hope that is him accepting it. And he seemed to kind of shrug it off like, oh man, it's in the past. And I hope that's how he feels. I genuinely hope that for him, everything that happened and anything and everything that could have or may have come along with that is truly in the past. And I hope he's living a great life and totally past that today. I feel like I am, especially with that interaction. It was an interaction I didn't know I needed. And it's just one step closer to feeling that, hey, all that stuff, that lifestyle, those choices, I just want them behind me. I do. And I feel like they're just that much more behind me. So I hope they are for him too. And that was my interaction I had with him.